Okay, so just looking at this part of the door, you can see all these areas here, and that's obviously rust behind there, all that paint's bubbled up. But for now we'll just concentrate on one piece at a time. So what I'm going to do is I've worked out that this area around here looks like good steel. Obviously that's all rotten. So what I'll do is I'll grind the metal that's been rolled around the back here, just grind that flat level with the door. That part's almost gone anyway. Once that's off, then I can cut a square section here and here and peel that piece off, which obviously is going to expose a great big hole through the bottom, but we'll see what's inside the door and maybe have a look at it a bit further. Okay, so we've made the cuts in here. You see they're pretty straight. Across the top, down the bottom. If I keep it as straight as possible, then I can cut a straight piece of sheet metal. Just makes life easier than having to file it and shape it. So now we come to the inside of the door and we start grinding that down. Now just get in there with a chisel now, inside that lip, fold that back. So that's it. That's that little piece cut out. And that shows the inside of the door. Pretty bad shape as well. So let's see what we can do there. Okay, so we've cut that piece out, and you can see that's pretty bad there. That's all eaten out there. So the next step here will be to clean this area up, and then I'll have to spray some rust inhibitor in there, and obviously recreate some metal at the bottom part of the door. So I've marked out the lines here. That's where I'm going to cut to and cut this piece out. Okay, so this is the piece that I've cut out the door. What I've done is I've just washed this off with vinegar water. That's why it's got that goldy effect to it. But what I'm going to use on this part here, it's got a fair bit of rust going through it, but it hasn't actually broken the metal. So I'm going to use this stuff here, rust converter, Oztech rust converter, and first thing to do with that, according to the instructions, is wash the area off with clean water. That's what I've got here. So I've actually already washed it with vinegar water, but now I'll wash that off. Okay, so I've dried that off with a nice clean cloth. So these areas I'm going to paint there, and just a little on this inside section. Okay, so it says to use a liberal amount over the area. So we'll start with that. Now, it does say to leave that on there to cure depending on weather conditions for something like between 4 to 24 hours, so I'll leave it for 24 hours. Okay, so you can see what it's done here. It's actually turned the metal quite dark, and that has physically stiffened up that metal. It's gone quite solid. So that rust converter's done a pretty good job. And they'll let that sit here. That's been 2 days. Okay, so I've got my patch piece in. It's tack welded in a few different spots. I'm now going to come across and just complete the welding of this piece in there. Then I'm going to make another little piece for this bit out here. I actually ended up cutting out another extra little piece that was rusted out, and I've widened the hole in this door by about 4 centimeters. And that was because there was more rust on this bottom bit back here that I couldn't get to before, so I've widened that up, and I'll end up making a little piece to go in there. I'll clean the inside of this door, but for now I'm just going to put this in place. Okay, so that's the door with all the pieces in. So I've got my little front piece that I had to add in there, this main section which I've had to recreate all through here. I've just cleaned up the inside of the door as well with some scuff pad and vinegar water. I've just got a little piece now to ward on the inside of the door, a little plate, and then I'll put some primer in here, and then of course the final piece will be to make the actual replacement door skin. And that's looking pretty good. And so there's the inside of the door. Patch is all in. I've got the rust converter painted on there. I'll let that cure for a bit, then I've just got some primer in there as well on top of that. So that's turned out pretty well. Next piece of course will be to put the skin over the top of that, and DA sand some of these other spots. See what's behind here. Hopefully it's just surface rust, fingers crossed. Another bubble down there, but this was definitely the worst of it, and that's pretty good. Okay, so now the patch panel goes on, and there's just enough small gaps on the outside so I can get the welding wire in there and weld through that. So I'll just position that correctly. Okay, so the panel's got its spot welds in position. It's fairly flush with the skin of the door, apart from this little area in here, but the rest of it is. So now I'm going to continue these welds and join it all up very slowly, calling it while I go, and then I'll bend these extra sides in back into the original positions behind the door.